Welcome to our first tapping room. My name is Sabrina Queiroga. I'm a transformational coaching and also EFT certified practitioner. And will be a space for us to work on our stress, on our blocks, on our programs. And the reason I create this room is first, EFT is such an easy technique to release stress quickly, to release traumatic events quickly. And it's growing more and more in the world, but I still consider that it's so underused. And we have so much research around it, proving how good it is, proving the effects, even with people with PTSD and strong traumatic symptoms. So EFT also works. We have different ways and different techniques of using it. So I create this space for us to learn and together do this work. It's accessible for anyone who wants. You can just need to register in the Zoom link. It's free. It's my plan is to do every Monday. So I already have like 4 sessions scheduled. So if you missed this session, you can enroll for the next one, which is next Monday. And why is so important to work on your stress, on your blocks, on your programs? As a transformational coaching, I believe that we are all a click away of our best life. And what is your best life? Is the life that you design, is the life that you dream. And when you're in the process of achieving this dream, of building this dream, you enjoy the process. And for me, stress is a huge villain on that. Because for many years, when I had this dream of building my career, of becoming a top level executive, which I did, but when I look back, probably 60-70% of the time, I was stressed and struggling and pushing myself and doing this fight. And today I learned that you don't need to do this way. You have better ways of doing this. You can enjoy your life. You can, of course, you have your challenges, you have situations, but you have so many tools so you can live better. You can enjoy, because what happened is when you're dealing with stress in certain levels, and in the modern world, it started becoming something normal. We are all stressed, we are all busy, we all so much to do. As women, we have our families, our work, our house, our friends, so much. And then we don't notice when stress is building up and chronic stress becomes part of our lives. We only notice when it's too far. For me, I noticed when I burn out. I was really burned out after I had my second child. And at some point, I just felt that I couldn't manage my career anymore and also have a family. So I had to give up my career. So I quit my job. And at the end, I noticed that it wasn't necessary, and certain things happen in my life that avoid me to throwing away almost 15 years of a beautiful career that I built. And is this because what I notice people in, we are constantly in this feeling of I need something else because where I am, it's not good. It's not good enough. I have the job, if the job pays well, but the environment is bad, or if the environment is good, but your boss is someone that stresses, or even if you have good things, but then it pays not enough for you and you're struggling financially. And we in this keep going, or you have a great job, but you have such a bad relationship that is causing problems, and we are constantly in this wheel of trying to fix things and trying to do things and really stress. And the bottom line, when it goes to a certain level, is that we got sick. And I think is we got sick. And one thing that people don't say much about it, but it happens a lot, is you get out of the mode of creation, of dreaming the life or building your dream, to a mode of survival. You're always trying to do, you need to survive, you need money, so you need to eat, you need a house, you need this, and you need it, and you're constantly seeking things just for your survival, which today we don't need to live like that. So, and tapping is an amazing technique to help you navigate through life, releasing stress when you need, releasing blocks that are avoiding you to get you what you want. And in all these years, what I notice is when we address the stress, then you're ready to move forward. When you address the stress, you start having a different view of your own life. When you address the stress, you start thinking in a different way. You start thinking about possibilities and not so much as, I need this, otherwise this is really bad. Otherwise, so we are constantly with fear, and then we don't have a good focus, and we are always doing things around. We are all over the place, as we used to say. So tapping is really helpful. It's a technique that is for decades already, like people is using for more than 2 decades. A lot of psychology associations have been reviewing the research around tapping and showing like it's accessible because it's easy for you to do. It doesn't cost millions of dollars. It doesn't have side effects. You're not taking pills or drugs. And if the medical system is more and more using tapping as an additional tool as well, as in the coaching, this is brilliant, because sometimes I notice when I'm coaching people, they start and they move forward, and suddenly something happened and they feel stuck. They feel that they can't move forward anymore, or things are not happening, or they are not doing what they want to do. They say they want to do something, but they don't. And generally, when those things happens, is because they have or trauma or situation or program or belief that something happens and it's freezing them. Because pretty much is what happened when you have trauma. You freeze. Is where like you have an important meeting, and then your boss talk with you and you get blank and you don't know what to talk. This is a reaction that generally is related to trauma. And we tend to think that trauma is just like abuse and violence and child abuse and all those things, but trauma is any situation that you have an event and you were not able to process the emotions related to that event. It's an acute event. And of course, we had all these major, what we call big T traumas, but you also have small things like abandonment or feeling neglect. So many children, when they are young, they feel neglect, and this cause blocks on their minds and things, and we don't even notice. In the 80s, we have this habit, like we put the baby in the cradle and he was to sleep and he would cry, and instead of picking him up, you would allow him to cry till he sleeps. And this creates huge traumas. Now science know that the kid was feeling neglected and not nurtured, so this creates problems. So we all have situations, even if we had great parents and we have a great childhood, we have so many events that could generate small traumas or blocks or beliefs that would hold us back. So that's what we want to do here with tapping. We want to address this, and I will bring different subjects so we can tap together, and you will be always able to adapt for your own purpose. So first, like what EFT does, what this technique does, it brings the stress. You choose a phrase, like a reminder phrase, a setup statement that is, this started from exposure therapy. So when you remember, use a phrase or something that you remember, and then it will trigger your body, you bring the reactions that as you were being exposed to that situation. And at the same time, you are tapping on your acupressure points. So I'm going to show you all the points. And when you're tapping these acupressure points, you are sending a signal of relaxation. So you have this contradictory movement, and this relaxation will enter in your system and it will change the way you perceive the initial stress. And that's the idea, because whenever something happens in your life, you can change what happened, but you can change the way you see what happened. You can, what we call like reframe. You can bring a different view of the event. And then when that happens, and you have less stress because you will have less cortisol in your body and your brain will be thinking differently, then you can have different ideas and different perceptions of the events that happen. So why I love tapping is because I really like the somatic therapy is what they call, like when you're using your body, because to help your mind. So most of the time we have the mind working, and then we have effects on our body. That's how disease happens. But you can also do the other way. You do a work on your body and then your mind changes. It's pretty much what happens when we exercise. When you exercise, you do some workout on your body, you produce some endorphins and other chemicals, and then your brain feels better. You feel good because you have all these chemicals and hormones that are being produced in your brain that help you on your mood, on your thinking, on your creativity. So we have this two-way road of body and mind. So tapping is using that, because instead of deeply talking about traumatic events, we just activate these memories. We don't need to go into the memories. We don't need to debate the stress that happened and why you're so overwhelmed, or why you're feeling that way. We just activate the memory in your body, and then we release the energy and the stress relate to that. So I think it's a brilliant way of working with stress. So it will be, as I said, it combines remembering a traumatic event with the physical stimulation. So we have a few points, and we were going to work with basic recipe initially. Maybe later we would add up like the 9 gamut and a few other techniques. But initially we work with the basic recipe. I think would be really good for all of us. So we have the tapping point. So you have like the side of your hand, which in the olden days was called like the karate chop, so it's here. And then you tap. When you tap, you put some pressure, not too much, but not too little as well. So you need to feel that you are stimulating the point. And then you can do it with 2 fingers. One thing that is also important, you can tap in both sides, doesn't matter. Some points I tap in both sides, like when I'm on the side of the eye, sometimes I do both at the same time, but you can do one. You can change depending on how long you're doing the tapping. Like a regular tapping session generally is an hour, sometimes 1 hour and a half. We are going to do short tappings. And again, can be even like a minute, and you will see the effects of this 1 minute tapping. So this is the side of the hand. Then we have the top of the head. So it's really on the middle, on your crown. It's kind of where your area when you were babies, and we have this softy area in our brain. So it's there. Then we have the eyebrow. The eyebrow, it's here. And around your eye, you have like an edge, like you have the bone here around your eye. So it's really like in the edge of this bone here. This is the eyebrow point. And you can tap with me, which it's always nice. You're always sending a relaxation signal when you're tapping, depending on what you're doing. And then you have the side of your eye. Again, it's not on your here on the side of the temple is like at the end, like the edge of your eye, the side of the eye. Again, you can do both sides. You can do one side. Then under the eye, you feel is the same. You also feel the bone here. So it's not on the soft part of your eye, it's like in the edge of the bone. Under the nose. Sometimes I can do this, but you don't need, it can be relaxed. Under the mouth. Again, you have like a valley here, exactly here in this lower end of your, at the end of your mouth before your chin. Then you have your collarbone. So you have your bones here, your collarbones, and it's slightly under, and you have a soft area. This is the collarbone, so you can tap with both. You can tap with one. Sometimes I like tapping with my fingers and my thumb. Also feel. Then you have under your arm. For women, is kind of where your bra is. For men, is like one hand lower, and you tap here also. So these are the basic points. We have a few other points that sometimes I use in EFT sessions. Most of the time we won't be using, but you could know it's just like here you can just do both. And you have the wrists also. You have a point that you can just tap one wrist and the other. Here, just like, oh, I have to look up. You have like almost on your armpits, but a little bit forward. You have, it's called the sore point, and it's an area that generally you feel sore because we have loads of stress here. And under here, your breast and your nipples for men, and under the breast, chest of women, is also a point that is connected to the liver. And another point that I kind of really like using for quick tappings are the top of the fingernails. So it's really good if you need to tap under the table, or you're feeling some stress rising, you would like to tap a little bit. So we have 3 basic steps to start tapping. So you need to create a setup statement while you're tapping on your side of your hand, on your karate chop. Then while you're doing the sequence of tapping, all those points that I showed you, you will be using a reminder phrase. You don't need to use this full setup state, but things that would remind you. Sometimes we will be using words from, or feelings or emotions, or things that you're feeling on your body. It will depend. Here we'll be using a lot more generic things, but when we do tapping with each other, or when I have someone that I can demonstrate, you see. And yeah, so I think this is the basic request for tapping. So today what I want to do is starting, I was bringing the theme of not being good enough. And I think one of the reasons that sometimes we feel really stressed is because we don't feel good enough. And feeling good enough sometimes it seems like too generic. So let's work a little bit. What is this for you? For example, if you have issues with money, so you have this feeling that I'm not good enough in making money, in creating a stable income for myself, or I'm always spending more than I used to, and I'm not good enough on this. Because when you say you're good, not good enough, generally have smaller examples that you feel you're not good at something. And because it creates such a struggle, at the end, you have this broader feeling of I'm not good enough. I can't do this because, or feelings of deserve. The good enough, I'm not good enough is also really connected to I don't deserve something because I'm not good enough. I don't deserve the great partner because I'm not good enough. I don't know how to have a great relationship. I don't know how to receive someone. Or I don't, I would like to do something. I would like to have a certain career, but I'm not good enough in this. I won't be able, I'm not good in tests, or I'm not good in speaking, public speaking, and all those things. And this is starting, this build up to a level that you feel like this is not for me. And I think is that many times when we give up our dreams is that you're not, if you like, I can't pursue this because I'm not good enough. I don't have the resources, I don't have the time, I don't have the skills. And this is not true. We are all very good. We all have our gifts. We all have everything we need to accomplish, to achieve our dreams. Because if we didn't have, we wouldn't dream of that. So if you have a dream, know that you have everything that you need to get to the dream. What we have is like, we have to go there. We need to, and sometimes you need to build stuff. Sometimes you need to acquire skills. Sometimes you need to work on your own blocks. Sometimes you need to work on your own limiting beliefs, what we call in EFT is like when you have a belief that it's so strong that is part of your system, your program, and sometimes we are not even aware of that. We just consider certain things. That's it. Is I can, for an example, for me, a very strong belief is things in life are hard. So if you want to get something, you need to put the effort, you need to struggle, you need to, you need to be really resilient, you need to be perseverant. And again, all those things are good, but it doesn't need to have this heavy component of like, you have to struggle and it needs to be a fight, a constant fight. For me, in the beginning, my life was like I was always fighting for what I want. And today I see life much more like a game than a fight. And you can see how more relaxed it is. Some people would say life is more like a dance. So you need to dance and you need to figure out and you need to seduce life instead of forcing life. But for a lot of people, life is a fight, or life is hard, or you're here because you're kind of paying something, or there is so many beliefs about what is life and is this. It's so generic and it's so wide that sometimes we don't even notice, and we just don't do certain things in our lives because we believe on those things. So let's start stepping. Let's do a few rounds and you can create your own statements. You can adapt when you hear some of the guidelines. And sometimes I will be saying things, sometimes I will just kind of guiding you to figure out what you could say in this line of I'm not good enough. What is I'm not good enough for you? What is your not good enough in what? I'll choose, I think money is a huge subject, like wealth. So I use money as a guide for all of us, but you can use as a relationship. You can use anything that comes to your mind. That's the other thing that is really important. When something comes to your mind, don't start like judging and rationalizing, just use it. Because sometimes people will tell Sabrina, I don't know what is it, what is, when I ask things when we are tapping, and I will say, what comes to your mind? What is the first thing? So use that, even if you don't understand why you're using that, just use that. And as you become like more used to tap, you see how things get easier. And in some situations, it's true. In some situations, it's really helpful to have a practitioner with you because he will guide and he will see blind spots that sometimes we don't. Sometimes we see something and we just skip fast for another point because that is the point, or we think the problem is something that the problem is not there, and practitioners are trained to help you to go to the place you need to go to release your stress and your traumas and everything. But what we are doing here will work perfectly for you to learn to release the stress. So we start always with even though, and it's always a negative statement and then an acceptance statement. We do positive tapping as well sometimes. We will see this later, but on a general rule, we are always focusing on the negative because we want to release that. So even though it's so hard to make a good money, to make wealth and have a good life, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel I'm so behind from where I want to be. And for you is this, what do you feel that you are behind? What are the things that you would like to be and you just feel you can't? But I'm open to get there. Even though I feel that I'm constantly struggling with money, I know good things are to come, are about to come. And I deeply and completely accept it. Notice if the statements feel real for you, because that's an important thing. If you do a statement, independent, negative or positive, and you totally disconnect from your statement, and I'm tapping on the side of my hand, you're not seeing because it's under, but I'm tapping, you keep tapping on the side of your hand. So notice what comes, because if you say I deeply, completely love and accept myself, and you don't, and immediately your brain says that's not true, change for I'm open to it, or I'm willing to accept, or something that makes sense for you that connects a little bit. Then top of the head, it's so hard to make money. Eyebrow, I'm always struggling. My account is always negative. What are the things that are so hard for you? What are the things that when you say that it's hard to make money or hard to have the relationship side of your eye, what are the things that come to your mind? I work so hard and I still don't make enough money. I feel this stress of not making enough money. What is this stress that you have under your nose? I'm not good with numbers. I'm not good making money. I feel tired under your mouth. I feel tired of trying and not getting there. And feel the emotions through phrases that really stress you. Collarbone. I don't know why I can't make money. I don't know why. It's so hard, so stressful. I don't even like talking about money. Under your arm, I feel so stressed when I think about money. I don't want to even look my account. top of your head. I struggle so much. So hard. I work hard. Side of your eye, but I don't make enough money. I was never good on that. I feel I'm not good enough. Under your mouth. I was never good enough. Think about when you thought about not being good enough. Which situations you thought, I'm not good on that. I don't know how to do it. I can't do it. Think about the situations and notice what you feel in your body, under your arm. What are the sensations in your body? Focus on those sensations. Do you feel your chest closing? Keep tapping. Top of your head. I don't deserve. Do you feel you don't deserve something? What you don't deserve? I don't deserve wealth. I don't deserve because I'm not good enough. Side of your eyes. And keeping focusing all the feelings, all the words under your eye. I always struggle. I don't deserve. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. Breathe. Don't forget to breathe while you're tapping under your arm. And then notice how is your body now? How you feel. And next session will be more technical a little bit. We will add a few things that are important for tapping. But that's the reaction on your body. How you feel after and we did just 3 rounds of tapping. We were not very specific. We were more generic. So this session is a little bit for us to start having the feeling what is tapping and the results in our body. When we are working specifically, we will add a few other things. We will add like rating your stress under and after so you can track how it worked. Also, we will look for specific events and more specific phrases that will trigger you. So we will add in the next session, but this was a very generic round session. And you can do in any moment. If something feels stress, like I will give you now an example. You are at work and your boss called you for a meeting and you're having meetings with people that you like, people you don't like, and you're stressed about the outcome of this meeting, you can think on the meeting and you can tap. You can just like, even though I have this meeting, I'm feeling really stressed. I know everything will work out. Even though my boss having terrible with me and it stressed me so much, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I have this meeting and I'm so stressed about this meeting, I can see they will argue or fight or question me, whatever you're feeling that is the main problem. But I'm open to work on that. And then you keep the meeting. Think about the meeting. Think about your boss calling you, the stress. How is your body reaction? And you keep like tapping, just thinking on that meeting and just thinking on past things that happened in previous meetings, and you keep tapping and you really focus on your body when you're tapping. So if you remember a previous meeting, you say in the meeting what you felt your throat was closing. Think about what you're feeling when you remember that event, or when you think about the future event. What are the feelings, the emotions, and how these emotions and feelings are in your body? Really try to ground yourself. For next meeting, we will start with the echo meditation. So it's something that we do in the beginning of the tapping session, so you can experience the echo meditation. Then we will do a short tapping with more elements. So today was really much for you to have a first experience about tapping. I hit my table, sorry for all the things. So, and to release, to start like being in contact with your body, starting to think a little bit more about your stress. What are the things that stress you most? And I would love you if you could post on comments in YouTube. I will post this video in the YouTube and the channel. What are the things that you would like to work? Because then we can bring the subjects. And if you write me a little bit about what are your struggles when you feel really stressed, what holds you to moving forward and taking the actions you would love to do in your life of transforming. What are, if you are not feeling that you are in your best life, that you still need to more, and again, the best life is not something aesthetic that, I did this work and no, your best life is a daily work. Your best, like you're living your best life when you are happy most of the time. We all have emotions, ups and downs. We all have problems, but what is your regular state? Are you regularly feeling relaxed and happy and willing to do challenges and changing and confident? Or you feel that you're shrinking and you're closing and you are afraid and you would like sometimes to disappear and you would like to not to think about certain things because it's just too hard? Because that's the place to work on those things. The tapping room is the place to work on all these things that is making you small. And we will be talk about a little bit about more about trauma. What is trauma? What is PTSD? Sometimes people think that PTSD is just for veterans. It's not. A lot of people, and it's not just major things like a major accident or a major violence or abuse. It's a lot of things can create PTSD that we don't even realize and could be affecting your daily lives. So thank you so much for you guys who are here today. And if you watch this later, post also in the comments what you would like to know, what you would like to work, and we will see you next week.